Hello and welcome to Toad Rolls Dice, where we have some more news and a glimpse of the future for Middle-earth strategy battle game. This is the one I've been waiting for. You know I've been going on about this for quite a while. This extra Armies of Middle-earth book, the rule book that we were told was coming and we haven't heard anything about since release of the previous ones. The one I've been waiting for. Well, we have some news on that and a brand new miniature. As you can see here, Prince Imrahil has been updated. There's a little glimpse there. We'll run through this article in its entirety because it's talking about both Prince Imrahil and then the book that's going to contain his rules, and it actually gives us the legendary legions that have those, like the good and evil sides, what's going to be in the book as well. So Prince Imrahil of Dol Amroth rides to battle with the armies of Middle-earth. So the new edition of the Middle-earth strategy battle game has been out for a few months now, and we've seen the first designer's commentary, which I will link at the end of this video if you're interested. And we have a new plastic miniature for Bolg, Spawn of Azog, which we've talked about, but things aren't stopping there. You'll soon be able to ride to the aid of Minas Tirith as Prince Imrahil of Dol Amroth. Wow. Just wow, he looks amazing as a model. And the thing that's thrown me here, I thought that the Knights of Dol Amroth were all metal still, but actually they were updated about 5 years ago. I mean, it sounds like a long time, doesn't it? About 5 years ago to be a plastic kit. So the Knights you're seeing in the background are the current Knights. They're currently out of stock, obviously, but 6 of them for 28 quid. As I say, they're out of stock, so don't get too excited. But they actually look like a really nice plastic kit, and I didn't realise these guys were in plastic, otherwise I'd have looked into these because I do love these guys. Imrahil is a cool character, and the idea of these heavily armoured, well-trained, like shock cavalry riding to Gondor's aid is just, this is one of the cool things about Middle-earth for me. But they've done Prince Imrahil justice with this model, and as we can see down here, this is plastic, he's mounted and he's on foot. Just a wonderful job that really ties in with the plastic set for the Knights as well. So he's new, he's shiny, but it also links pretty nicely in, as we can see there. So descended from the noble line of Numenor, Imrahil is the brother-in-law of Denethor and lord of the city of Dol Amroth. He commanded the force that saved a wounded Faramir from the pursuing army of Mordor and rode to the defence of Minas Tirith during the Battle of the Pelennor Fields, leading the company of Swan Knights in a glorious charge from the White City's gates. He's brilliant in the book as well. He is a book character, he's not in the films. Now, this new plastic kit features Prince Imrahil on foot and mounted on an armoured horse. Both Imrahil and his mount feature armour detailed with swan iconography as befits the Prince of Dol Amroth. He will be released in the coming months, and you'll be able to find his rules in the upcoming Armies of Middle-earth, the one I've been waiting for, a 192-page hardback rule supplement that expands your choices of units and army building. I hadn't realised that it was going to be a full-on hardback rulebook, but that's fine. They're about 35 quid, but hopefully this is everything that we'll need for the next few years. I know they're going to be feeding in new characters and models and stuff, but what this says to me is that they are looking at refreshing characters. We've seen more characters than anything else. Not necessarily warriors, and the Knights of Dol Amroth, they don't need a refresh. They need to be in stock, but they don't need a refresh. They look exceptional with this new Prince Imrahil model. But we still do need other bits fed in. Like, I've just ordered some Rangers of the North. 6 models, they're all metal. I would love them to be a plastic kit at some point, but I don't think that they will. They're not going to be a priority, but that's what I want this book for, because I'm going to do a Rangers of the North army, because I just love Rangers, the Dunedain, all that kind of stuff. But this is going to give me access to that. So the Armies of Middle-earth contains the rules for 130 units, featuring heroes, villains, monsters and warriors from Middle-earth's lengthy history, and covers a huge selection of classic miniatures plus new unit profiles, such as the War Drakes of Rhun. And you can see here there is a selection of, in fact it's these guys that I've just ordered. The Rangers there at the front. These guys are all new. Well, they're older models, but these warriors are new, I believe. There's some Rangers of Gondor up there for some reason. These guys were new as well. They were all resin. I don't think that the Knights of Arnor were resin. I think they're plastic. These models don't have rules, despite being some of the newest models out. outside of the new starter set. So it's mad that we've had to wait this long, and I've preached on about that for so long. It's still months away. So months could be April, months could be September. We don't know what Games Workshop are doing. But still, it's coming, and this is confirmation that it's coming. So in this book, the forces of good are ready to stand and fight with profiles for units and heroes from the Free Peoples, Rohan, Gondor, Kingdoms of Men, Elven Kingdoms, and Dwarven Holds. You will be able to use them in 14 good army lists. So Elven Kingdoms, Glorfindel is going to be in here as well. Now, he's a beautiful resin model. I was looking at buying him, but surprise, surprise, he's out of stock. But as soon as Glorfindel comes in, and he's got rules and he's legal in this game, I'm going to be picking him up, and I'm probably going to do an Elven army as well. I love all of this, and I really want to get into this, and with all of these units, I'm going to be able to do that and just mix and match and customize, and then do your fixed army lists like we've got here. But the good army lists, the Battle of Bywater, Arathorn's Stand, the Grey Company, which is the one I'm looking forward to, Beornings, Fords of Isen, the Paths of the Druidin, the Fiefdoms, the Grief of Eomer, nice, so that's a Pelennor Fields army list that's going to bring in other characters of Rohan that aren't in the films. Arnor, Army of Dale, hopefully Army of Dale is going to be a Third Age Army of Dale, like Lord of the Rings era, not Hobbit era. Battle of Fornost, the Kingdom of Khazad-dûm, the Army of Erebor, and the Defenders of Erebor. So that's your 3 Dwarven lists. Fornost might be Dwarves. No, Fornost will probably be Elves, will it? And for those that want to see Middle-earth brought to ruin, the forces of evil composes of Mordor, Isengard, and the Misty Mountains, and the Fallen Kingdoms. And again, there's 14 evil army lists. Army of the Great Eye, Shaki's Rogues, nice. Moria, Dragons of the North, that'll be cool. Host of the Witch King, that'll be cool. Shadows of Angmar, that'll be cool as well. Burdur's Horde, Wolfpack of Angmar. Okay, so we could go full Warg list. The Army of Kendum, the Easterlings, Host of the Dragon Emperor, so the Dragon Emperor is going to come back in. The Serpent Horde, Umber, that's the Corsairs, that's cool. I thought that they'd be got rid of. Mind you, they're in the films as well, aren't they? And the Grand Army of the South. So some pretty big stuff in there that's linking in with a lot of the models that have been forgotten about. Many of the heroes and warriors that feature in the Armies of Middle-earth supplement can also be taken in army lists found in Armies of the Lord of the Rings and Armies of the Hobbit. Good. Where this is the case, the Legions of Middle-earth section will provide details of which army lists they can be taken in and what heroic tier these heroes will count as in these lists. So that's going to make me think Aragorn and the Army of the Dead, they'll be able to take Rangers of the North and things like that. A lot of the problem with all of this stuff is that Games Workshop is going to need to either say, we're doing new models for this stuff, just wait, or start to drop the reveals now, or actually get stock of the existing models. Because, I mean, again, here, these new warriors here, new warriors and heroes, like, they got rules, and then we were told that there was a new edition coming out, so don't bother buying the books. Yeah, it's wild that it's taken this long. But they're going to have to get some stock in, and they're going to have to try and, keep that stock available if they really want to push this edition, like I think that they're trying to do. So, with this supplement, you'll be able to use parts of your collection that were not covered in Armies of the Lord of the Rings and Armies of the Hobbit rules supplements, and we'll let you know when you can pre-order both Prince Imrahil and Armies of Middle-earth here on WarCom. Very, very, very loose with a time frame, which annoys me. I'd love them to say they'll be up in next month. I want this stuff now, ideally, but this is great news for the game, the health of the game, and people who have vast collections outside of the models and the armies that are available in all 3 film series. I'm talking Hobbit, Lord of the Rings, and War of the Rohirrim. We're still waiting on War of the Rohirrim characters to come out. Hera has not shown up. The one in plastic one, mounted and on foot, is gorgeous. I'm going to pick that up. Prince Imrahil I'm going to pick up, and I'm probably going to have to do a cavalry army of Knights of Dol Amroth, because he's amazing. And obviously I'm getting this book, I'm pre-ordering this book. So Middle-earth is getting a lot of stuff in the coming months. It was months. Where did it say? He'll be released in the coming months. That's the same wording that they said with Bolg as well. But this is good. For the health of the game, this is exactly what we need, and now we just need them to start actually giving us this stuff. Get it released as soon as possible. That Hera model there, she's not available yet. She's just forgotten about. But they're obviously doing things. The fact that they're making new character models and updating them and putting them in plastic is huge for the game. I hope that they sustain it. I hope that they keep doing it. I hope that we get new sculpts for a lot of the popular infantry models. 99% of the cavalry models, both good and evil, need redoing. I'm biased. I'd say focus on this stuff and Lord of the Rings over The Hobbit and the War of the Rohirrim. War of the Rohirrim is I haven't seen the film yet because it's not available on streaming, but it's pretty much done. I think once Hera comes out, that's all the characters that we're probably going to need, aside from the odd secondary hero or good or evil heroes here and there. So I think that's kind of, this is the starter set. It coincides with the film. Film's not done so well. Okay, we'll pull back and we'll shift focus. But they've obviously been working on this for a long time because of the rights issues. And they've had to release it in such a way because of the rights that they, when they figured out the licensing deals with the various companies, Tolkien Estate, New Line, everybody that has access to all of the Middle-earth stuff, they've had to do it in such a way where they do films first. But this is exactly what I wanted. And this is the impetus to really get me to push forward and get this all set up so we can get some Middle-earth on the channel. Because this is excellent news. Really good sculpts. The Bolg sculpt I wasn't that bothered about, but Hobbit stuff I don't really care for. I love the Hobbit story. I just didn't love the film representations. But this is exactly what I want. The wider Middle-earth, Third Age, what's going on and the characters who are around in the book, and just in the era, the era of Sauron making his big push and Aragorn coming to prominence as King Elisar. Does this mean that we are going to start to see, if they're doing a plastic Prince Imrahil on foot and on horse, surely we're going to get a plastic King Elisar on foot and on horse, because he needs a massive update. That sculpt is old, even the metal one goes back, but it's currently in fine cast, which is worse than resin in my opinion. Aragorn, Legolas and Gimli on horse. They are old metal sculpts from over 20 years ago. They need updating. We have plastic Gandalf and Pippin. We probably need a new Fellowship box, because the new Fellowship box that's probably around 10 years old now is awful. The sculpts are just not dynamic at all. They could do so much better. A lot of the Hobbit stuff is in resin and metal, so that needs updating. There's so much that needs to be done with this, and while all this is good news, this is really positive, how about we start to see not just single characters, but we actually get a big, okay, we have this license, we're going to make this game work, the game is in a good place, people are enjoying it, which they are, on the whole, from what I've heard, so now let's start to give them something to really get excited about. This little stuff is good, and this army book is key to all of this. But at the end of the day, this game is going to live and die on how many metal and resin models there are for the big characters, big heroes, and standard infantry units people want to run for both good and evil, whichever movie. Look at Horus Heresy. They redid it, they're redoing a load of plastic, they're doing tanks, characters, all of the Space Marine armor is coming in plastic. They also have the resin stuff, and it's working out really well. Old World is the same thing. There's a few bits of plastic stuff in there, there's a few bits of resin, there's a few bits of metal, but there's a big push for not necessarily new plastic, but they're bringing out the plastic sculpts again. You can't have a game system in this day and age is purely resin or purely metal for a license that is as big or potentially as big as Middle-earth is. Hopefully that's part of the licensing deal, and I'm not expecting it to change overnight, but the more plastic that comes into this, the more accessible it is for everyone. And with the future of, the future of the Lord of the Rings movies is on shaky ground, but we're getting prequels to the Lord of the Rings with The Hunt for Gollum. Andy Serkis is coming back, Ian McKellen wants to come back as Gandalf. Andy Serkis is apparently directing it. They're looking at so much more. They're really looking to have another wave of Middle-earth stuff. Lord of the Rings movies and characters. War of the Rohirrim was a placeholder movie as a quick, we need to make something to keep the rights. What they're looking at doing now is properly going into it and hopefully doing it faithfully. This game could be huge if they position it right and all of this stuff comes out and you can recreate cool things from the new movie that's out, on the tabletop. That'd be amazing. So hopefully this is just the start. Let me know what you think in the comments. Is the Armies of Middle-earth a book that you're going to be looking to pick up? And what do you think of Prince Imrahil? I'm going to go rest my voice now because you can probably tell it's going. And hopefully we'll be back tomorrow with something else. But I am having to be very careful with my voice at the minute. Since I've come back from holiday, it's just, I've had to do a lot of talking and stuff. And then I've come back and it's gone. Completely gone this week. So bear with me. That's where we are at the minute. So there is going to be stuff coming, and we are going to cover stuff as and when it comes out when I'm able to. So stick around. Hit that like button, subscribe, do all of the cool YouTube stuff that everybody doesn't do. Thank you very much for watching. I'll see you all in the next one.